as always, for being able, just being able to come into his house one more time, to give him praise, to give him glory, to give him honor, because he's worthy of all of that. All we can give, he worthy of it, and then some. Amen. We're in lesson number 10. And we are talking about the healing of a man born blind. We really need to investigate how these disciples reacted when they found out that the man was born blind. But when we start out this lesson, if you have done your history, you know that Isaiah predicted that in the Messianic times, various signs were going to occur, and that the Messiah would open the eyes. That's over in Isaiah 42, and in Isaiah 49 and Isaiah 35, that he was coming to do stuff. He wasn't coming just to be coming. He was coming to do things, and he came to save. He came to deliver. He came to set free. And so this miracle is notable because Jesus had just proclaimed in the chapters before that he was the light of the world. And isn't it significant that he, being the light of the world, will give to a man that never had light, would give to him light. So now he is going to give this blind man some light so that he can see, because Jesus himself declared, I am the light of the world. And so as Jesus was walking along and he was going along in the city of Jerusalem, he saw a man that had congenital blindness, which means that he was born blind. And so he saw him, and the fact that the man was blind from birth pointed to his seemingly hopelessness, that just didn't seem to be any hope. The Bible didn't say how old this man was, but he did say that he was a man, so therefore he was not a child any longer. And from his birth, he had never been able to see at all. So this is notable. And so disciples, sometimes as we go into what the disciples were thinking and what, now we got to remember that a lot of this stuff that we're teaching and that happened in the Gospels was before they actually had the Holy Ghost, which would give them the discernment and everything they needed. So at this time, the disciples were just followers, and they were dealing mostly on their humanity side. Y'all know we deal on our humanity side a lot, don't you? When we get upset, it's our humanity. When we want to say stuff, it's our humanity. When we want to get back, it's oops. Go on, Sister Watson. Amen. So the disciples had this point, and they said, Jesus, who did sin, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? Now, even now, in the age in which we live, it's a popular theory that if something terrible is happening to you, you had to sin. Job's friends accused him when things started happening to him of having committed some type of sin. So why is it that we want to? Now we know that man's sin is going to be ever before him because of what Adam did, and then that's why Jesus had to come and straighten up what Adam had messed up. But everything that happened to us does not happen because we sin. So they wanted to know, well, what in the world, who sinned? And in my mind, I said, well, what in the world were the disciples thinking? He said, who sinned, this man or his parents? Wait a minute. He was born blind. What sin could he do before he was born? Have y'all thought about that? Did that ever occur to you? When you when you read through this, did it ever occur to you as what sin could he have done before he was born? That was the first one. Did this man sin or did his parents sin? Oh, Lord, I'm so glad Jesus was there to correct this. They were having a theological problem thinking that sin is directly the cause of all suffering. It is not. And the Lord had to clear it up for them right then and right there. He had to let them know that neither the man nor his parents had sinned. But this is, his statement did not contradict the universal sin, but it said this happened because he was going to get some glory out of it. This happened that the Father may be glorified. This, a lot of stuff, it happened to Job because Job was upright. He hadn't sinned. The Bible said he stayed away from sin. He offered sacrifices even for his children in case they had done something. So all suffering is not tied to sin. There's a common thing today that people think that. And so he told them his work had to be done. It was not caused by sin. It existed so God's works could be made manifest in this man. This is why he's blind. So that, you know what? And when you begin to think about it, some of the stuff happened to us so God can be glorified. This is the reason we're not supposed to be sitting on our testimonies. Because some stuff happens for his glory. Oh, God, I thank you. A lot of things can go on, but some of this stuff happens so God can get some glory out of our lives. And the fact that we went through anyhow, that we went through in spite of, that we went through no matter what. Oh, Lord. And so he told them, no, it's so that God's works could be manifest in him. And so Jesus continued to talk to them and told them, I must work the work that I was sent to do while it is day. And he's not talking about daylight and nightlight. He's not talking about that. He's talking about the day was while he was down there on earth with them. And then the night was going to come after he leaves out of the earth because he is the light of the world. Lord, have mercy, have mercy. And so he said, I got to do this because when night cometh, no man can work. As long as I'm in the world, I am the light of the world. And this is why I think it was in Matthew somewhere he said that we are a light set on a hill so everybody can get to see it. So when he left, he sent back part of his light back into everybody that would believe so that now we, glory, become the light of the world. We are supposed to be shining so people that can see God in us so that kind of subdues that humanity that we like to flow back to. It kind of makes you think, well, this is not the will of God that I say this. This is not the will of God that I put my hand on my hip and just let them have it. That's not his will. Why? Because you are now the light of the world. So if you're the light of the world and you're acting like the world, what kind of light are you? Moving right along. He's working. So after he had said this blind man is there. And some of y'all would have just went crazy if this had happened. During my career, I taught a lot of classes, and this one particular class I taught was universal precautions, how you can protect yourself from getting stuff from other people and passing stuff along. So Jesus, he spat on the ground, made clay out of his spittle, and anointed the man. Now, can't you see y'all just going completely crazy? You gonna put your spit on me? That's that. What is that? Which mind is that? Humanity. Y'all scared to talk over there? Yeah. There's a whole row of them right down. Everybody. No, that's humanity. Because we would tell them how to glove up and how to do this and how to do that and how to do the other and make sure that they're protected at all times. And in some cases, they had to completely robe up. Everything had to be covered. They had to be covered from head to toe to even go in the room of the person. So they called it isolation. Yeah, that's what they called it. Anyway, Jesus spit on the ground, made a clay, put it on the man's eyes, and told him to go wash in the pool of Siloam, which means sin. And he went and washed. Now, the thought also came to my mind. He had to have someone to help him get to the pool, but they left that part out. Unless he was familiar with walking around and knew where stuff was, But it doesn't matter. He managed to get to the pool. And he washed. And the Bible said he came seeing. Oh, Lord have mercy. Don't you understand how important it is to follow directions? Remember Naaman? He had some direction, but he didn't want to follow them. He was disgruntled. He was disgruntled because he said, why couldn't he go into some of the nice, pristine waters? Why did he have to go to the muddy Jordan? Why do I have to go there? But see, Naaman's problem was that he was full of pride. That was his main problem. He was full of pride, and he didn't see why he had to go and dip in this dirty water when there's nice, clean water that I could dip in. But see how important it is to follow directions. Now, he had to be encouraged to follow directions. If he had told you some great thing to do, would you not? Wouldn't you have done it? Yeah. But we don't see anywhere in here that this blind man even had a response other than obedience. And guess what, saints? I don't care how you put it. I don't care how it come down. God is expecting out of his people obedience. Just obey. Follow directions. Do what I told you. And as Sister Keisha said, and everything gonna be all right. Yeah. So he went and came seeing. Wasn't no surgeons. Wasn't no eye patches. Wasn't no eye drops. None of that. He followed the directions of Jesus Christ, and he came seeing. And so the neighbors who knew him, this is people now, they really working on the humanity side. They really working there. Okay. And they knew that he was blind, and that isn't that the man that sat in bed because he was blind, he couldn't work, he couldn't see nothing, and people, catch people. Some of them said, well, it looked like him. I don't know. It might not be him. But the man spoke up and said, I am he that was blind. and now, oops, I can see. You know what? Everybody got the Holy Ghost, got that same testimony. I once was blind. Oh, glory. But now, oh, Lord, since he came in and delivered me, and now I see. And personally, I'm so glad about it. He said, now, how were your, and then here come the Inquisition. How were your eyes open? Number one, why do you need to know? You say, how did this happen to you? How do you get blessed like this? You know, people ask us and look it up. How in the world did you get blessed like this? You ain't never had nothing, and look at what the God has done. What? Really, it's none of your business, but God did it. God did it. How did this happen? And the man began to talk to him and said, a man called Jesus. Lord, that's the part I love about the lesson. Right there. That's my part right there. A man called Jesus made clay, anointed my eyes, and told me to go wash in the pool of Siloam. I went, I washed, I received my sight. A man called Jesus. Hey, we all have that same testimony that a man called Jesus came one day and touched our lives. A man called Jesus when nothing else could help. Oh, glory. He came and touched our lives. Now, notice that it didn't say nothing else would help. It just said it couldn't. Nothing else could help. Nothing else could bring the salvation to us that we needed. Nothing else could correct in us what Adam had messed up in us. Nothing else could. Hey, glory. Not that it wouldn't, he just couldn't. Had not the power to do it, could not happen. But a man called Jesus. That's a message in there for some of these preachers. A man called Jesus. He came by and he made everything all right. Lord, he said, I received my sight. And then they asked the man, where is this man called Jesus? He said, I do not know where he is. They took the man to the Pharisees. Okay, here we go again. Lord have mercy. The Pharisees got to get involved in everything. You know what? And they were so upset. They was really upset because Jesus had healed a man on the Sabbath. And you know how they were about the Sabbath. But they had no idea that they was fooling with the Lord of the Sabbath. But it was on the Sabbath day. You wasn't supposed to be doing this. And they had everywhere Jesus went, every move he made, they always had some accusations to attach to it. He did something that was against the law that they believed in. Well, the law is over because Jesus is here. Oh, glory to God. It's over because Jesus is here now. And they still hang on to it, trying to do everything they can to disqualify. How you going to disqualify the Creator? Y'all talk to me right there. If you were seamstress, a couple of us in here seamstress, how are you going to make something and then it disqualify you? Okay, yeah. They took him to the Pharisees. He did this on the Sabbath. You received your sight on the Sabbath. He put clay on my eyes. I washed and I see. But it was done on the Sabbath. The Pharisees, this man is not of God. Here they go again. Jesus is not of God. He is God. Oh, glory, glory. They didn't want to accept that in any form. No kind of form at all. We're not accepting that he's God. We're not accepting the fact that he came to save. All we know is the law and we sticking to it. Well, when you find out you're wrong, what you stuck to did not help you, did it? A lot of us have wrong concepts of things, and that we don't believe this and we don't believe the other. But you better believe God and follow his direction. This man, the only reason he got his sight back was because he followed direction. Now, a question for the class. What is the problem with us and directions? What is the problem that we just can't seem to follow direction? We want to alter the directions. Y'all, I told y'all about them pound cakes I made that the garbage disposal got. 3 of them in a row. Yeah. Yes. Because I was trying to make a shortcut out of the recipe. It didn't. Yeah, I was trying to make. How many of y'all ever tried to make a shortcut out of the recipe? Brother Jermaine at least admitted it. The rest of y'all didn't admit it. We tried to make a shortcut. I remember we went somewhere, Adrian or somewhere, to a meeting, and Damon was driving us, and Damon decided that he was going to come back a better way. And because the highway was, congested or whatever, he was going to come back a better way. Let me tell you, y'all, we was on back roads. We passed cow patches, cows out in the field mooing, miles and miles of nothing. I didn't understand. And to me, it took longer to get back home than if you just got on the freeway and went on through the traffic. See, shortcuts don't always work. And with God, they don't ever work. Because you have deviated from the directions. Now, the recipe said, beat this butter and sugar together 10 minutes. Well, I thought that 5 should be enough. Yeah, it should be enough. Why we got to do 10 when I can do 5? You have to do 10 so that the cake would come out right. You have to follow directions so that it will come out right. Y'all ain't never took shortcuts. Y'all telling me I didn't have a one that said they actually took a shortcut. And Brother Jermaine, how did it work for you? It don't work, Saint. Following instructions is what is going to get you the victory. When we're dealing with God, he don't play. Mama used to say, hell is smoking and God ain't joking. Yes, she did. She said it over at Pastor Ford's church one time. We went back. He had a sign made and put it up in his church. Hell is smoking and God ain't. I said, no, you didn't. Yes, he did. Lord have mercy. So when it comes to God, we have to follow what he tells us. Or you would not get your deliverance. He would have still been blind until he died had he not followed the instructions. Now, back to my question. Why is it so hard for us as the people of God to follow instructions? Sister Mary said, we want to do it our way. Well, we found out that doesn't work. So now what we have to do now is revamp. And do it the way he told us to do it. Do what he said do. Just follow the instructions. And so he said, this man, the Pharisee, this man is not of God because he does not keep the Sabbath. See, this is all that's going on. He didn't keep the Sabbath. And then, if the truth be known. And so others said, well, I have a question. How can a sinner do such miracles as these? And then, right then, there was a division among them. They trying to crucify Jesus, and a division came among them. First, we're going to challenge you because you did this on the Sabbath. But then the other group said, well, I can't believe he's not a God. How can a sinner do these kind of miracles? What's going on here? You know, the enemy always brings division. You do know that, don't you? Yeah. He always brings division. So that you will be separated and fussing and arguing and kicking and scratching and carrying on. The Jews did not believe that the man had been blind and received his sight. So next thing, okay, the next step, let's call his parents. We got to prove, is this him for real? We really in court now, ain't we? We got to call witnesses. Ooh, Jesus. When you read this lesson, you should have said, Lord have mercy. They called his parents and asked them, is this your son who you said was born blind? Listen at him. Why? How does he now see? Is this really your son? You the one told us he was born blind. And they said, we know this is our son, and we know that he was born blind. The witnesses didn't help him. The witnesses didn't help. By what means he can now see, we don't know. We don't know who opened his eyes. Now, since we have no information for you, but we know he is of age, and he can speak for himself, so why don't you just ask him? And he shall tell you what you want to know. Don't come bothering me with it, because whatever we say, he's not going to believe in it. Have you ever noticed that whatever you say, the enemy don't believe it? No, you have to keep reminding him that Jesus is Lord. Because he really, you know what, when you get right back into the history of it, he really wanted to take God's place. But that was impossible. He could never do that. So he got kicked out. Third of heaven came down with him. And now he's running rampant, doing stuff, bothering you, jumping in your business. And you have to chase him out. But I'm going to tell you, we're at war. I told you this a few weeks ago. We are at war. And if you don't fight, he's going to tromp you down into the dust. And you won't know what to believe. But you need to believe what you know is right, and the gospel is right. And whatever God tells you to do, you need to be able to find yourself doing it. Y'all never did answer the question of why it's so hard to follow instructions. This is the third time I asked. Mary said we want to do it our way. That's just one person among the many. What is the problem with us? We don't follow directions on the highway. I saw a man the other day, I was driving. He went in the wrong lane to pass. You know the turn lane? You're not supposed to pass in the turn lane. He went there to get in front of somebody else, and then still got blocked up. See what? It ain't a mess. You can't even follow instructions with traffic. You can't even follow instructions baking the cake. You can't follow instructions when on your job. And that's why we're in so much trouble. They tell you to do it one way. And every company has a different SOP, standard operating procedures. Every hospital I ever worked in had a different book of standard operating procedures. But you couldn't bring the procedures from the last hospital over to this hospital and expected it to work, because you would be challenged. That's not the way we do it here. Y'all ever run into that? No, that's not how we do it here. We have a whole different setup here. So since you're here, you have to follow the instructions that go along with this place. That's why we change kingdoms. So now we in the kingdom of his dear son. And we follow his directions. So now, why can't we? It's no more my way or the highway. No, it's none of that anymore. It's follow instructions or you won't be delivered. Follow instructions or you won't get the blessing. Follow instructions, and we hate it. Why do we hate it? Why do we hate instructions? Bishop is on this flesh thing. But it's the truth. We don't want to. We want to do everything we can to please this flesh. Make it happy. Well, when you make it happy, you don't make God happy. Oh, Lord. So, which prophet was that talking about? Choose you. Here it is. Choose. Which way you going to go? How long you going to be halted? That's what he said, between two opinions. Who are you going to follow? Who are you going to listen to? We can't afford to not follow God's instructions. And he'll tell you not to do stuff and you do it anyway. What is that? Y'all still ain't going to talk to me, huh? He told you don't? Yes, sir. Make a little detour, huh? He, Naaman, if he hadn't went to the Jordan, he would have continued to have leprosy. This man, if he hadn't allowed the Lord to anoint his eyes with this spit clay and go wash like he was told to, at the place he was told to, he would have stayed blind. Let's reel it on back to us. When he tell us, don't go this way, and later on you hear on the news that it was the way you was going to go, had a great big mess went on there. But because God steered you another way and you obeyed, you missed it. See there? See, why is it that we, even with the Lord Jesus Christ leading, guiding, and direct us, we still want to go our way? You know what? The children of Israel had a real problem. They wanted to fire Moses and elect a new pastor to take them back to Egypt, where they had had all that trouble and crying and moaning to be delivered. But you know what they wanted to go back for? And garlic. No, they wasn't hungry. God fed them. They were not hungry. They wanted the spices and the everything. They wanted the results of Egypt back in their life. We cannot go there. I certainly don't want the results of the enemy back in my life. Sometimes he tried to invade, but we have to chase him out. And the reason Israel didn't get all the land they were supposed to get, because they wouldn't go in and chase them out like God told them. I'm going to give it to you, but you got to go over there and clean up the land and make it yours. You can't do, oh, Lord have mercy. You can't do anything disobeying God, disobeying instructions. You see? Mm-hmm. Then I don't. Always. It's always a war going on. Always a war. Every day you wake up, it's a war. Sometime in your sleep, it's a war. You're not, yeah. You are not going to be able to win this battle without fighting. Every day you're going to have to fight. Because he's going to bring something every day, something negative to you that you should do or say that's going to negate your blessing and your walk with God. And you're going to have to fight to maintain your position. And if you don't fight, guess what? You just can't win. You just can't win. Our problem, the church of today's problem is we have an obedience problem. We just don't want to do it like it's been prescribed for us to do. We want to do other stuff. And we want to bring everything into the kingdom. You can't bring everything in the kingdom. One time we got ready to move, Bishop hired a dumpster and everything. I said, all this stuff that we done collected, this 25 years we was in this house, can't go to the next house. It just can't go to the next house. He got the dumpster and they was hauling stuff in there 25 years. You going. You're not going to the new place. And it's the same thing with salvation. You cannot bring the world with you into the church. Because they don't fit. And we can look at it and see. Some of us have looked at it in the church and saw it and knew it didn't fit. This does not fit with the word. And we have to learn how to get all of this stuff rearranged so that we're kingdom people for real and not imitations. You can just about imitate anything, but we want the real thing. So what we have to do is follow his instructions. This man followed the instructions. The disciples were delusional. They thought everything, it went back to sin. Well, if that's the case, a lot of us in here that had so many problems, so much sickness, so much pain, so much, we would just done sinned a whole lot, hadn't we? According to their theory, we just done went wild with sin. We're not in pain because of sin. Somewhere along the line, God going to get some glory out of this. Somewhere along the line, we're going to be edified. The church is going to be edified, and God is going to be glorified. So we just need to do what he say do, and that's it. Questions? Because I'm getting ready to sit down. Because my back is telling me to sit down. God bless you.